Lyra Ven had always loved the smell of the scrapyard. It was a strange kind of smell, a mixture of burnt metal, old fuel, and the faint scent of oil that had soaked into the ground over decades. She wrinkled her nose as she walked through the narrow pathways between towering piles of broken ships. Most of the machines were too old or too damaged to ever fly again. But to Lyra, each one held a story. Each one was a possibility. She was only 12, small for her age, but her eyes were sharp and curious. While other children her age ran through parks or played holo games in their homes, Lyra preferred the scrapyards. Here, she felt alive. Here, she felt the pulse of a universe filled with mysteries waiting to be solved. Lyra, a voice called. It was Jax, her older brother by 4 years, leaning against a stack of metal plates. You're gonna get yourself hurt again. You're too small to be climbing those ships. I'm careful, Lyra said, though she didn't sound convincing even to herself. She ducked under a dangling piece of wiring and crawled into a narrow gap between two half-dismantled star cruisers. Her boots clanged against loose panels, and sparks flew from exposed circuits. Jax shook his head and muttered something under his breath. One day, this curiosity of yours will get you in real trouble. Lyra didn't answer. Her attention was already caught by something gleaming in the dust. It was tucked under a pile of corroded metal panels, almost as if it was hiding. She crawled closer and saw the edge of a fighter ship's wing, scratched and worn but still holding a faint sheen of its original paint. She pulled at it gently, her fingers sticky with rust. With some effort, she revealed the entire craft. It was small, sleek, and surprisingly intact for something lying forgotten for years. The ship had clearly seen better days, but Lyra could see its potential. Her heart pounded. A fighter, she whispered to herself. She had read about fighters in old space records. Fast, agile, perfect for exploration, perfect for someone like her, who dreamed of flying beyond the horizon, beyond the limits of the frontier planet she called home. Jax arrived behind her, his face a mix of annoyance and disbelief. You want me to believe you're actually thinking of taking this rust bucket home? Lyra's eyes sparkled. It's not a rust bucket. Look at it. It can fly again. I can fix it. I'll make it fly better than anyone imagines. Jax rubbed his temples. Lyra, you don't even have the credits to buy a snack. How do you plan to pay for a ship? Lyra didn't answer immediately. She crouched and brushed her fingers over the wing. That was when she noticed the small, faded number on its hull. Vanguard 77. Her breath caught. The name sounded familiar, like a legend whispered among scavengers and traders. It's old, she said finally, but it's special. I can feel it. You can feel rust? Jax asked, trying not to laugh. Not just rust, Lyra said, standing up. I feel the story it wants to tell. Jax shook his head again. Lyra, you're impossible. Lyra ignored him. Over the next hour, she examined the fighter. The cockpit was cramped but still usable. The control panels were mostly intact, and the engines, though covered in grime, seemed salvageable. Her fingers traced the edges of the ship, and she imagined it soaring through the skies, leaving streaks of silver light behind. Finally, she stood and faced Jax, determination written across her young face. I'm buying it. Jax froze. You're buying it? You don't have enough credits. Lyra's gaze didn't waver. I have enough to get it. That's all that matters. I'll fix the rest. I always do. Jax sighed. He had tried to argue before, but he knew it was useless. Lyra had the stubbornness of a starship captain. There was no reasoning with her once she made up her mind. Fine, he said reluctantly. But don't come crying to me when this thing falls apart. Lyra smiled. It won't. The next morning, Lyra returned to the scrapyard with her small pile of saved credits, earned from odd jobs and scavenging, and approached Rin, the scrapyard owner. Rin was a tall man with arms covered in grease stains, and a face that looked like it had been carved from stone. "What do you want, Lyra?" he asked, squinting at her. "I want Vanguard 77, Lyra said confidently. "I have the credits." Rin raised an eyebrow. "You're 12. You can barely reach the cockpit of a speeder. Why do you want a fighter?" "Why?" Lyra took a deep breath. "Because it wants to fly." "And so do I." Rin looked at her for a long time, then at the small stack of credits in her hand. He studied the ship, then back at her. Finally, he nodded. "All right. It's yours," he said gruffly. "But be careful. That ship, it's not like the others. Someone abandoned it for a reason." Lyra didn't care about the warning. She grinned, handed over the credits, and Rin signed the transfer papers. Vanguard 77 was hers. As she wheeled the fighter out of the scrapyard, she noticed a small panel near the dashboard, slightly askew. Curious, she opened it and found a small cube nestled inside. It was smooth, made of crystal, and faintly glowing. Lyra's eyes widened. What are you?" she whispered. She turned the cube over in her hands. It was heavier than she expected. Its surface pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Jax, watching from the ground, frowned. "That doesn't look safe. Could be an old power source, maybe even radioactive." Lyra shook her head. "No. It feels alive, like it's waiting for someone." That night, back in her small room cluttered with parts and tools, Lyra examined the cube more closely. She tapped it gently, and the surface shifted, projecting a small holographic map of the stars. Lines connected distant points, and tiny symbols appeared along the paths. Lyra gasped. This is a star map," she whispered. She had seen maps before, in old libraries and archives. But this one was different. It wasn't just showing locations. It was showing a journey, a path that seemed to call her name. As Lyra traced the lines with her fingers, a soft voice echoed in her mind. It was melodic, strange, and beautiful, though she could not understand the words. The cube's glow brightened, illuminating her small room. She felt a shiver of excitement and fear. Something extraordinary was waiting for her, something beyond her wildest dreams. Lyra knew, deep down, that her life had changed forever. This fighter, this small crystal cube, was not just a machine or a relic. It was a message, a secret left behind by a civilization long gone. She didn't understand it yet, but she would. She had to. For the first time in her life, Lyra felt the weight of destiny pressing gently on her shoulders. She was only 12, yes, but the universe had chosen her for something extraordinary, and she would not let it slip away. The next morning, she climbed into Vanguard 77's cockpit, feeling the worn controls beneath her fingers. The engines hummed faintly as if waking from a long sleep. She pressed the cube against the console, and it interfaced with the ship. The glow spread through the cockpit, and she heard the soft, melodic voice again, clearer this time. "Hello," it said. Lyra's eyes widened. She whispered back, "Hello? Who are you?" The voice hummed like wind through ancient trees. "I am Ether. I have waited a long time for one worthy to listen. Are you ready to learn?" Lyra's heart raced. Yes, I'm ready." The cube pulsed once more, sending waves of light through the cockpit. Lyra felt a warmth spread through her body, a connection to something far greater than herself. Outside, the twin suns of Arendor 5 rose over the scrapyard, casting long shadows across the rusted metal. Lyra didn't see them. She was already looking up, beyond the atmosphere, beyond the stars, toward a future she had only dreamed of, a future filled with discovery, adventure, and the promise of the unknown. And she would face it all. Alone, if she had to. Brave, because she was human. Determined, because she had found her destiny. Vanguard 77 was ready, and so was Lyra. Lyra could hardly sleep that night. Her small room, usually cluttered with tools and scraps of metal, now seemed alive with possibility. The crystal cube, resting beside her bed, pulsed faintly, as if keeping its own rhythm, separate from hers. She touched it gently. Its glow responded, brighter and warmer this time, almost as though it recognized her. By the next morning, she had decided. She could not wait any longer. She had to understand the cube, and she had to make Vanguard 77 fly. The sun rose over Arendor 5, painting the scrapyard in shades of gold and silver. Lyra hurried to her ship. Her small hands moved quickly over the worn controls, checking wires, switches, and panels. She had studied enough schematics to know what she was doing, but nothing could have prepared her for what happened next. She pressed the cube gently into the console. The ship shivered, as if sensing the touch of something old and powerful. The cockpit lights flickered on. The worn engine panels hummed faintly. Then, a voice filled the space, a voice soft, clear, and musical, unlike anything Lyra had ever heard. "Greetings, Lyra Ven," the voice said. Lyra froze, her eyes wide. Who are you?" "I am Aether," the voice replied. "I have waited a long time. You are the one chosen to receive the legacy of the Illyrians." "It's Satan," Lyra's heart raced. "The Illyrians? Who are they?" "They are a civilization that existed before humanity reached the stars," Aether explained. "Their knowledge was vast, their technology unmatched, and their purpose forgotten. Until now." Lyra's mind spun. She had read stories of lost civilizations, myths scattered across frontier worlds, but she never imagined she would come into contact with one. Her fingers trembled as she adjusted the cube. The small crystal projected holograms into the air. Star maps, symbols, and strange machinery floated above the dashboard. "These are star charts," Lyra said in awe. "Where do they lead?" "They lead to the remnants of my creator's knowledge," Aether replied. "There are technologies hidden in the stars, waiting for someone who is worthy. Someone brave. Someone pure of heart." Lyra swallowed hard. Brave? Pure of heart? She was 12. She barely knew what she was capable of. And yet, somehow, she felt ready. She had to be. Aether continued. "Your ship, Vanguard 77, has been preserved for this purpose. Its systems are connected to the legacy. Together, you and I will explore, uncover, and protect what remains. But beware, others will seek these secrets. They will not all be kind." Lyra nodded, determination shining in her eyes. "I understand. I will protect it." The next few days were a whirlwind. Lyra spent every moment she could in Vanguard 77, learning its systems, practicing controls, and discovering hidden compartments she hadn't noticed before. The cube, Aether, and the ship worked together in harmony. Lights pulsed with each command, the engines hummed in response to her touch, and the holograms showed paths she had never imagined. One evening, Lyra discovered a small lever beneath the console. She pulled it, and a hidden panel slid open. Inside, she found a series of etched symbols, glowing faintly in the dim light. Aether spoke softly. "These are fragments of our knowledge," it said. "They contain instructions, histories, and warnings. The Illyrians foresaw challenges that would come long after they vanished. You must learn their wisdom." Lyra traced the symbols with her fingers. Though she did not understand all of them, a few seemed familiar from old records she had studied. She felt a strange connection to the lost civilization, as if their hopes, dreams, and fears were reaching across centuries to touch her. But it was not just knowledge that awaited her. As Lyra continued her studies, she noticed changes in the cube. Its glow brightened, pulsing in response to her emotions. When she felt excited or curious, the light expanded, and the holograms became more detailed. When she felt uncertain or afraid, the glow dimmed slightly, though it never went out completely. It was as if the cube, and Aether within it, were alive. And Lyra realized she was not just learning from it, she was communicating with it. One morning, Lyra decided it was time to test Vanguard 77 inches the sky. She had read about the ship's flight systems in old manuals, but nothing prepared her for the sensation of being inside it. When she activated the engines, they roared to life, vibrating beneath her hands. The cockpit lights flickered, and the ship trembled. She gripped the controls tightly, heart pounding, and slowly lifted off the ground. The sensation was unlike anything she had experienced. The wind of the upper atmosphere whipped past the cockpit, and the twin suns of Arendor 5 glinted off the metal hull. Lyra felt powerful, small, and infinite all at once. This is amazing," she whispered, laughing with exhilaration. Ether spoke calmly, yet with a hint of pride. "You are a natural, Lyra. The legacy responds to you." The Illyrians chose wisely. For hours, she soared above the planet, practicing maneuvers, loops, and gentle dives. She explored canyons, mountains, and open plains, feeling the bond between herself, Vanguard 77, and the cube grow stronger. She began to understand that this ship was not just a vessel. It was a partner, a guardian, and a guide. But Lyra's peaceful days did not last long. Rumors of Illyrian technology had begun to spread through the frontier. Traders whispered about rare artifacts, scavengers gossiped about old star maps, and bounty hunters sought riches in the stars. One afternoon, while Lyra was repairing a minor fault in the ship's engine, she noticed a group of figures watching her from the scrapyard's perimeter. They were tall, wearing dark uniforms, and carried equipment she did not recognize. Their eyes were fixed on Vanguard 77, and something in their stance made her uneasy. "Who are they?" she asked Ether, her voice low. "They are seekers of power," Ether replied. "They have sensed the cube's energy. They will attempt to take it. You must be careful." Lyra swallowed hard. She was 12, small, and alone. Yet she felt a spark of courage that surprised even her. "I won't let them take it," she said firmly. That night, she stayed in the cockpit, scanning the skies with the ship's sensors. The figures had left the scrapyard, but she knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. She activated the cube, hoping to learn more about the Illyrians' warnings. The holograms shifted, showing images of strange machines, advanced weaponry, and alien landscapes. Among them, she noticed a small figure, a young Illyrian child, etched in the holographic light. Lyra blinked. Who is that?" "That is Arelyn," Ether said softly. "A child of the Illyrians, left as a message for one who could listen. They hoped someone would inherit their knowledge, preserve it, and prevent the mistakes that led to their fall." Lyra felt a lump in her throat. She could almost see Arelyn's face, feel the hope in the tiny figure. I'll protect it," she whispered. "I promise." The cube glowed brightly, as if affirming her words. Ether hummed softly, and the ship vibrated gently beneath her hands. Lyra realized that she was no longer just a girl with a dream. She was a guardian, a student of an ancient civilization, and a pilot destined for adventure. The days passed quickly. Lyra practiced piloting, learned from the holograms, and deciphered small fragments of Illyrian writing. Each discovery filled her with wonder, and each challenge made her stronger. She began to understand that the universe was larger, more mysterious, and more beautiful than she had ever imagined. But danger was always near. One evening, while Lyra was navigating through a narrow canyon, a warning signal flashed on her dashboard. Sensors detected an approaching ship. Its hull was jagged and menacing, painted in dark red. Lyra's heart raced. The Seekers had found her. "Stay calm," Ether said. "We can outmaneuver them. Trust in the ship and in yourself." Lyra took a deep breath, gripping the controls. She twisted the ship through the canyon, dodging rocks and weaving between cliffs. The enemy ship fired, but Vanguard 77 responded with speed and precision beyond anything a normal fighter could do. Lyra laughed, exhilarated. She was not afraid, not fully, not while Ether and the cube were with her. After a tense chase, the enemy ship gave up, disappearing into the horizon. Lyra's chest heaved, her hands shaking. But she felt proud. She had survived her first real test. Aether's voice filled the cockpit. You have shown courage, intelligence, and heart. These are the qualities the Illyrians valued most. You are ready for what comes next. Lyra smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. I'm ready, whatever it is. As night fell over Arendor 5, Lyra gazed out of the cockpit at the stars. The cube pulsed beside her, casting soft light across the controls. She knew that the journey ahead would be difficult, that danger awaited, and that the secrets of the Illyrians would not reveal themselves easily. But for the first time, she also knew something else. She was not just a girl with a dream. She was the keeper of a legacy, chosen by fate, guided by the wisdom of a civilization that had vanished long before humans touched the stars. And she would not fail, because Lyra Ven, 12 years old and brave beyond her years, had found her purpose. The stars waited, and she was ready to answer their call. Lyra Ven's life had changed completely. Just a few weeks ago, she was a 12-year-old scavenger, wandering among rusted ships and dreaming of the skies. Now, she was a pilot, the keeper of a lost civilization's legacy, and the owner of a ship that seemed almost alive. Vanguard 77 hummed beneath her, responding to her every command as if it had been waiting for her all along. That morning, Lyra prepared for her first real journey beyond Arendor 5's atmosphere. Aether, the ship's AI, guided her through the pre-flight checks. Lyra, we are leaving the planet, Aether said, its melodic voice steady. We will head toward the coordinates hidden in the cube. This will be our first exploration mission. Lyra's stomach fluttered with excitement and nervousness. Coordinates? She asked. You mean a real journey into space? Yes, Aether replied. Beyond your world, beyond the charts known to humanity, there is knowledge waiting for us, but there will also be dangers. Be prepared. Lyra nodded, tightening her grip on the controls. She had prepared for this moment, but no amount of practice could calm the nervous energy coursing through her. She took a deep breath and launched Vanguard 77 into the upper atmosphere. The ship responded smoothly, lifting into the skies with a gentle roar. Lyra guided it past mountain ranges, over sparkling rivers, and into the clouds. Then, with a few adjustments, she broke through the atmosphere. The sky turned dark, stars appearing like diamonds against velvet. Lyra gasped. I never thought I'd see this, she whispered, awe in her voice. You were meant to see this, Aether said softly. You are part of a greater journey. The cube projected a glowing path of star systems ahead, marking a route that no human had traveled in generations. Lyra followed it carefully, learning to read the holographic star map as she steered the fighter. It was thrilling and terrifying. Every maneuver tested her reflexes, her judgment, and her courage. Hours passed, and Lyra grew more confident. Then, a warning signal flashed on the cockpit screen. Sensors had detected a large object moving toward her. Something's coming, Lyra said, her voice trembling slightly. It appears to be a scout ship, Aether replied. Seekers of Illyrian technology may be tracking us. They are persistent. Lyra's heart raced. She had survived one encounter on the planet, but now she was alone in space. The scout ship was larger and more advanced than she expected. It closed the distance quickly, its weapons systems glowing. Stay calm, Aether advised. We can outmaneuver it. Trust in the ship. Lyra tightened her grip on the controls and pushed Vanguard 77 to its limits. She twisted, turned, and weaved through an asteroid field, narrowly avoiding collisions. The scout fired repeatedly, but the ship's systems, guided by Aether, responded with incredible precision. This ship, it's amazing, Lyra shouted, laughter and fear mixing in her voice. We can do this. Hours of cat and mouse followed. Lyra realized that the enemy was testing her, trying to wear her down. But Vanguard 77 seemed to sense her determination. Its engines glowed brighter, responding to her courage. The cube pulsed in her hands, projecting new holograms, strategic paths, hidden routes, and even warnings about weak points in the asteroid field. Finally, Lyra saw an opening. She guided Vanguard 77 through a narrow passage between two massive asteroids. The scout ship tried to follow, but its size and slower response caused it to crash into a rock, breaking apart in a shower of sparks. Lyra exhaled, her hands shaking. We did it," she whispered. Ether's voice was calm but proud. "You demonstrated intelligence, courage, and intuition. These are the qualities of the worthy. The Illyrians would be proud." Lyra smiled, feeling a surge of confidence. She had survived the first true test of her journey, but she knew it was only the beginning. The holographic cube shifted, projecting new images. Among them was the young Illyrian child, Erilyn. Smiling, a message appeared. "The path ahead will test you further. Only those with courage and wisdom will uncover the secrets of the stars." Lyra's chest tightened. She had promised to protect this legacy, and now she understood the magnitude of her responsibility. Every decision she made, every maneuver, every choice, could affect the survival of knowledge that had been lost for centuries. Her next destination was a small, uncharted system called Zyphora, known only in the hidden records of the Illyrians. It was said to contain a relic, a device capable of amplifying the cube's knowledge and unlocking hidden Illyrian technologies. The journey to Zyphora was long. Lyra spent days navigating through asteroid belts, avoiding gravitational anomalies, and learning to pilot her ship through the silent vacuum of space. She discovered new systems, minor meteor showers, and even floating derelict ships left behind by civilizations long gone. At night, she would look out of the cockpit and imagine the Illyrians who had traveled these same paths centuries before. The cube pulsed beside her, almost like it was communicating, telling her to continue, guiding her hand as she traced new star routes. One day, while mapping an asteroid cluster, Lyra detected an anomaly. It was a faint energy signature, unlike anything she had seen before. Curious, she guided Vanguard 77 toward it. As she approached, the sensors revealed a small, abandoned station floating in space. "It's ancient," Ether said. "Very old. Illyrian origin is likely." Lyra's heart raced. She docked the fighter carefully and entered the station. Inside, she found corridors filled with dust, holographic consoles, and faded symbols. The air was stale but breathable, preserved by old life support systems. At the center of the station was a pedestal. On it rested a small device, glowing faintly. Lyra approached cautiously. The cube pulsed in response. She reached out and touched the device. Immediately, holograms filled the room, star maps, mechanical schematics, and recordings of the Illyrians themselves. "They left everything," Lyra whispered. "All their knowledge. It's here," Aether explained. "This is a knowledge amplifier. It will enhance the cube's ability to project, store, and transmit information. With this, you will be able to access more advanced technologies and strategies. But it is also a beacon. Others may sense it." Lyra nodded, understanding the danger. She carefully integrated the amplifier with the cube. The light pulsed, then stabilized, brighter than before. The ship's systems hummed in response, and a sense of connection spread through her, linking the ship, the cube, and the amplifier as one. But just as she was beginning to explore the station's holograms, alarms blared from Vanguard 77. Sensors had detected another ship approaching, larger, faster, and armed with advanced weapons. "They've found us," Lyra said, her voice steady despite the fear rising inside her. "They will try to take the knowledge," Ether said. "Prepare for a confrontation." Lyra took a deep breath. She had never faced a battle like this alone, yet she was not afraid, not completely. She had trained, learned, and trusted in the ship. And now, she would prove that humans were capable of extraordinary courage. The enemy ship fired, and Lyra darted through the station's debris field, using every maneuver she had learned. Vanguard 77 responded perfectly, dodging lasers, weaving around massive structures, and using the asteroid belts as cover. She realized that the ship was responding to her instincts, as if it could anticipate her thoughts. "This is amazing," she shouted, adrenaline pumping. "We can do this." Ether guided her strategically, projecting holographic paths and calculating enemy weaknesses. Lyra followed every instruction, trusting the connection between her mind, the cube, and the ship. After a tense and skillful battle, she managed to outmaneuver the enemy ship, forcing it to retreat. Lyra's hands shook as the adrenaline faded, but she felt exhilarated. She had survived not only through skill, but through courage, intelligence, and trust in the legacy she protected. "You did well, Lyra," Ether said softly. "The Illyrians' hope lives on through you. This is only the beginning. Greater challenges lie ahead, but you are ready." Lyra smiled, looking at the stars beyond the station. She felt a new sense of purpose. She was no longer a child dreaming of adventure, she was a guardian, a student of the lost civilization, and a pilot destined to explore the mysteries of the universe. With Vanguard 77, the cube, and the knowledge amplifier, Lyra set her course for the next coordinates. She knew the journey would test her courage, her intelligence, and her heart, but she was ready, because Lyra Ven, only 12 years old, was proving that humans, small, fragile, and young, could face the stars and rise to challenges no one else could. The universe stretched before her, vast and mysterious, filled with wonders, dangers, and secrets, and Lyra, fearless and determined, would uncover them all. Lyra Ven had grown in ways she never imagined. From a 12-year-old scavenger dreaming of flight, she had become a pilot, a guardian, and the keeper of an ancient civilization's legacy. Vanguard 77 hummed beneath her as if sensing the weight of the mission ahead. The cube pulsed softly, and the knowledge amplifier glowed with power, linking all of them in a bond she felt in her bones. Yet, Lyra knew the greatest challenge was still ahead. The Seekers, those who had tried to steal the Illyrian knowledge, were gathering strength. They had returned, larger in number and more determined than ever. The stars that had once felt like endless wonder now seemed filled with danger. "This is it, Ether," Lyra said quietly, gripping the controls. "We have to stop them. We can't let them take what belongs to the Illyrians." Ether's voice was calm but firm. "You have grown, Lyra. You have proven your courage, skill, and wisdom. The Illyrians trusted in you, and so must you trust in yourself." Lyra nodded. She set her course toward the coordinates where the Seekers were amassing, a dark nebula near the edge of explored space. As Vanguard 77 approached, she could see dozens of enemy ships spread across the shadowed expanse, glinting like stars themselves. Her chest tightened. The odds were overwhelming, yet she felt no fear. Not the kind that paralyzes. Instead, she felt determination, a fierce need to protect the legacy that had chosen her. "Engage the stealth mode," Ether advised. "We will approach unseen and strike strategically." Lyra activated the systems, and the fighter shimmered as if blending with the darkness of space. The cube pulsed in response, projecting new star maps and tactical suggestions in holographic light. Every movement of the ship felt instinctive, guided not only by her skill but by the connection she shared with Ether and the Illyrian technology. They passed the outer perimeter of the enemy fleet without detection. Lyra felt her heart race with exhilaration. For a moment, she remembered the scrapyard on Arendor 5, the excitement of finding Vanguard 77, and the first touch of the cube. All of it had led her here. Then, the battle began. The Seekers detected the shimmer of Vanguard 77 and opened fire. Lasers streaked across the nebula, illuminating debris and distant stars. Lyra twisted the controls, dodging the beams and weaving through asteroid fragments. Every maneuver tested her reflexes, her focus, and her courage. "Target the command ship," Ether instructed. "It controls the fleet. If we disable it, the others will retreat." Lyra nodded, guiding the fighter closer to the largest ship in the fleet. The cube pulsed violently, projecting a beam of light that interfaced with Vanguard 77's systems. Ancient Illyrian designs embedded in the ship activated, and the fighter's engines glowed brighter than ever before. The ship responded to Lyra as if it had become part of her, anticipating her thoughts. The command ship fired a barrage of missiles. Lyra dove and rolled through the chaos, narrowly avoiding destruction. The cube pulsed again, sending holographic pathways for evasive maneuvers. Lyra followed instinctively, her hands moving as though guided by some unseen force. Finally, she reached the heart of the fleet. The command ship loomed above her, massive and imposing. Lyra knew she had only one chance. "Now, Ether," she said, voice steady. Ether's voice resonated with power. Activating Illyrian Resonance Protocol. A beam of light shot from Vanguard 77, connecting with the cube, the amplifier, and the ship. It struck the command ship, and Lyra felt a surge of energy pulse through the fighter. The enemy vessel shuddered and began to lose control. One by one, the smaller ships scattered or fell apart as the Illyrian technology disrupted their systems. Lyra's heart pounded, but she kept control. She guided Vanguard 7 through the retreating ships, dodging debris and focusing on one goal: protect the legacy. The cube's light pulsed like a heartbeat, and she felt Aerolin, the Illyrian child in the hologram, smiling at her. When the battle ended, silence returned to the nebula. The Seekers had been defeated, their fleet destroyed or fleeing into the shadows. Vanguard 7 hovered among the remnants. Battered but unbroken, Lyra exhaled, her hands trembling with relief and triumph. "You did it," Ether said softly. "The Illyrian knowledge is safe. The legacy continues." Lyra smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. She looked at the cube and the amplifier, and the hologram of Aerolin appeared once more. "Thank you," she whispered. "I promise I'll keep it safe." Over the following weeks, Lyra explored the remnants of the Seeker fleet and discovered hidden caches of technology. She recovered maps, tools, and devices that humans had never seen before. Every discovery added to her understanding of the Illyrians and their wisdom. She realized that the cube and the amplifier were not just guides, they were teachers. Through them, she learned advanced engineering, navigation, and even strategies to solve problems that seemed impossible. She saw the potential for humanity to rise, not through war or greed, but through courage, intelligence, and compassion, the very qualities the Illyrians had valued. One evening, Lyra set a course for a distant, uncharted system. The stars stretched endlessly before her, glittering like jewels against the dark velvet of space. Vanguard 7 hummed beneath her, and the cube pulsed gently, as if acknowledging the journey ahead. "I wonder what we'll find next," Lyra said aloud. Ether's voice was soft and melodic. "The universe is vast, Lyra. The Illyrians left many secrets, challenges, and wonders. You will continue to uncover them, and through you, their legacy will guide humanity." Lyra's eyes sparkled with determination. She felt small in the face of the infinite, yet powerful in the choices she could make. She knew that her courage, intelligence, and heart could shape the future not just for herself, but for all who would follow. Days turned into weeks, and Lyra continued her exploration. She mapped new star systems, charted safe routes for travelers, and shared knowledge discreetly with those who could be trusted. The Illyrian technologies she discovered allowed her to repair old ships, build new tools, and even help isolated colonies flourish. The cube remained a constant companion, its glow shifting in response to Lyra's thoughts and emotions. The hologram of Aerolin appeared often, sometimes silent, sometimes offering guidance or warnings. Lyra began to feel a deep connection, not just with the legacy, but with the people it had once served. Yet, she never let her guard down. Rumors of Seekers persisted in the outer systems. Some had survived the previous battle and were gathering strength again. Lyra knew that her journey would never be completely safe, but she also understood that bravery was not the absence of fear, it was the ability to act despite it. One day, while navigating a dense asteroid belt, Lyra detected an unusual energy reading. The cube pulsed with a new intensity, projecting a series of symbols she had not seen before. Aether interpreted them. "This is a message," the AI said, The Illyrians left instructions for the final stage of their legacy. Only one who has proven courage, intelligence, and compassion can access it. Lyra's pulse quickened. She guided Vanguard 7-7 through the asteroid belt with precision, following the holographic symbols. At the center, she found a small, ancient station, untouched by time. The station contained a repository, a library of holographic knowledge, Illyrian tools, and records of their civilization's triumphs and failures. "This is it," Lyra whispered, "the heart of their legacy." As she explored, she realized the magnitude of what she had discovered. This knowledge could help humanity reach new heights, solve problems across worlds, and avoid the mistakes that had led to the Illyrians' disappearance. But it was also a responsibility, a duty to use the knowledge wisely and protect it from those who would exploit it. Lyra spent days studying the records, absorbing information, and planning her next moves. Every new piece of knowledge strengthened her connection to the Illyrians and their purpose. She felt a profound sense of belonging, as if she were part of something far larger than herself. Finally, she activated the ship's systems to record and share the knowledge responsibly. The cube and amplifier responded, projecting holographic pathways for storage and dissemination. Lyra realized that she was not just preserving the legacy, she was igniting it, allowing humanity to carry forward the wisdom of the stars. Ether spoke, its voice filled with pride. "The Illyrians' hope lives on through you, Lyra. You have honored their trust, and through your actions, humanity will rise to meet the stars." Lyra looked out of the cockpit, toward the infinite expanse of space. She smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of adventure. The universe stretched endlessly before her, filled with mysteries, wonders, and opportunities, and she knew that as long as she remained brave, intelligent, and compassionate, she could face anything. Because Lyra Venn, 12 years old and extraordinary beyond her years, had not just survived the challenges of the stars, she had embraced her destiny, protected a civilization's legacy, and proved that humans could rise to greatness. The stars shimmered, as if applauding her courage. And Lyra, pilot of Vanguard 7-7, guardian of the Illyrian knowledge, smiled back, ready for whatever adventures awaited in the infinite universe.